Welcome dear students. So, here I am to deliver the lecture from the subject that is a pathophysiology, and the subject code is BP204T, and this subject comes under the course B Pharma, and this course offered by the Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University. And now in the previous lectures we discuss about from the this unit, that is the various kinds of disorders. Now from this unit the next topic is the cancer. So in this topic we discuss about the what is the basic principle behind the cancer, what is cancer, what is the cancer, what is the principle of cancer, and how the cancer will be classified into the various categories, right. So basically if we talk about the cancer, during the current scenario the cancer is very commonly commonly disease, and this may be caused by the various conditions. Now we discuss about these series of the cancer and their classification and their pathophysiology and their treatments in the future lectures. Now we discuss about the introductory part. So basically what is cancer? If we talk about the cancer, so cancer terms the disease which is a large group of disease that characterized by the cellular many malfunctions. Cellular malfunctions means when the cell can't recognize what they do, what is the functions of the cells, they just forget, just follow the wrong pathway, and they cause the malfunction of the cellular activities, right. Basically if we talk about the normal cells, just like the cell mitochondria, right, this is a kind of cell, this is a kind of cell organelles, the mitochondria. What is the role of mitochondria? It is the role of the role of mitochondria is to just create the energy, right, but due to some problems inside the body, the cells organelles or the cells can't recognize their functions, they just alter their functions, right. When they alter their functions, they get damage to the body. So cancer is one of the disease which is mainly characterized by the cellular malfunctions. So healthy cells are programmed to know what they do and when to do it, right. So if we talk about the healthy cells, they know what their functions, they know how to perform that particular function, and they know that if any pathogen comes inside the body, if any foreign particle comes inside the body, they know how to fight with them, right. But just because of this cancer disease, the cells can't recognize their function, right. They can't recognize their function, they can't perform their function on the time, and they just alter their functions continuously, and due to this the body will be damaged and they can't perform the whole performance of the body not properly, right. So this in the single term, cancer is the kind of cellular malfunctions disorder in which the cells, they can't define their particular functions during the proper timing. So when the cells becomes damaged just because of the malfunctions, they just convert it into cancerous cells, right. So cancer cells do not having any kind of programming, therefore they continuously grow, replicate out of control, right. So as you know, there are two terms, that is the apoptosis. There are two terms, that is apoptosis and necrosis, right. Here if we know about the apoptosis, what is apoptosis? Apoptosis means the programmed cell death. Programmed cell death means program cell death. Programmed cell death means they know that when the cell get to die, right? They know that at that time the cell get to die just because of their function is now completed, or they are no need to continuously their process. But in the necrosis, what happened at that time? There is an uncontrolled cell program. There's no program कि कब उनको कि when they are perform their functions, when they get to die, when they get to some functions, they don't recognize their functions properly, right? So this is the kind of the cancerous cells. So cancer cells are not recognize their proper functions, they just replicate itself in the continuously manner, and when they continuously growth in the continuously manner, they forms the very bulky cells, very bulky cells region that is known as tumors, right? Tumors, what is tumor? Tumor is the uncontrolled cell growth at a particular area by which there is a damage of that particular area. There is a total blockage just because of the huge cells are stored or huge cells are replicate at that particular area, right? So this is a tumor. So cancer is a collection of disease which characterized by abnormal and uncontrolled cell growth, and this cancers arise from the loss of normal growth of the cell functions in normal tissues, the rate of growth and the old cell that are kept in the balance, right? So new cells are formed, old cells are get damaged. The process is continuously run that perform the homeostasis mechanism behind the inside the body between the cell origin and their death, right? But what happened in the condition of the cancer? At the condition of the cancer, the cell can't recognize when they are to grow and when they are to go for the death. So they can't go for the death, just continuously regrowth or reestablish or uncontrolled replicate itself in the continuous manner. So in the normal tissues, the rate of the new cells growth of the old cells does in the controlled manner, but in the cancer cells it is the balance is disrupted or the balance is damaged, or this disruption can result from the uncontrolled cell growth. There is a loss of cell ability to undergoes the apoptosis. So I told you that apoptosis, there is a programmed cell death. So there is a loss. The cell can't recognize that when they perform the apoptosis process, right? So loss their ability to undergoes the apoptosis. Now, what is the basic principle behind the this cancer? So when the diagnosis of the cancer is first made, the main goal is to treatment of the removal of the cancer completely if possible. Though it is from the single treatment or throughout the life, throughout the combination of therapies or the surgeries. So it is the most effective elimination type of the cancer before it is spread into the lymph nodes and the proper different sites. So basically this is a diagram where it shows that how the normal cells converted into this cancer cells or the tumor cells. So here this is the normal cell, and due to some conditions the cells get muted, okay, right? So what happened at that time? The normal cells get muted itself. So after the mutation, what is the mutation? There are sudden changes in the cell. So there is a sudden change in the cell just because of various kind of conditions inside the body. So normal cells get muted, then they forms the first cancerous cell. When they form the first cancer cells, now the process of the series of the formation of cancer cells will continue, right? So there is a first cancer cell, they again replicate itself without any pathway. Then what they have to do, what they perform the function, they don't know. The cells they don't know what they do, they just replicate itself in the uncontrolled manner, right. So there is a various channels, there are various series of the cell divisions. Now at the mutation, there is a mutation 1, mutation 2, mutation 3, there is a series of mutations into the cell and the cell divided accordingly, and there is a group of cells with the mutations 1 and 3 which forms the tumor, right. This green part shows the mutation of cells with the 1 and 3, and this blue part, right, this part shows the mutation in the first and second mutations or in the cell. So this is the structure how the cells become cancerous. So this is a normal cell, right. Now there is a mutation in the any one of the cell, एक cell में mutation हुआ at that time. Now the cell become abnormal. After the mutation, what happened, the cell become abnormal, and now abnormal cell divides rapidly because they don't know why they growth, why they replicate. They just know that we have to replicate, right. They don't know why we have to replicate, for the function, for the our replication. They don't know nothing. They don't know anything about their replication process. बस वो होते जाते हैं, right. Now the cells continuously to divide and the blood vessels develop to form the cancer cells. Means when the cells develop, when the cancer cells replicate itself, the blood vessels and the lymph vessels will continue inside the cells. So they take their nutritions from these sources, right. These sources, they get their nutritions and they continuously replicate, and after replication into the particular area, they form the tumors. And now when the cells transferred, and these cells transferred into the any other part of the body, just like this is a primary site, like this is a cancer of liver, right. This is a cancer of liver, and now these cells now migrated to the breast, right. So this is a breast cancer, and that breast cancer is known as a metastatic cancer. The metastatic condition, is a condition when it is a kind of secondary cancer. Secondary cancer it is just because of any other source, right. So this is a metastatic, which we will discuss about later. So this is how the cancer cell will be grow uncontrolled growth. Now characteristics, if we talk about the characteristics of the cancer, so first is abnormality. So abnormality means the cell can't know their functions, they perform their function abnormally, they just behave abnormal person. Just like a abnormal person, they don't know what they do, what they speak, what they do, they nothing know, they just perform their function. Just like that person, the cells will perform the same, just like the cells are performed there abnormally, they react abnormally, right. So the cells are structural unit of the all living things, each of us trillions of cells, that is a growing tree, and which is now damaged. Now this is get disturbed just because of cancer cells. The cells make it is possible for us to easy all the kinds of functions, life, beating of the heart, and there is a many kinds of the activities of the body throughout the life. Now some cells stop functioning or behave as they should, serving no useful purpose in the body at all. Now they becomes the cancerous cells, right. The cells become replicated in a particular area, but they have no functions, they just replicate itself, then they forms the cancer cells. Now this is a kind of abnormality. Now, second condition of the cancer is uncontrollability. Uncontrollability means the cells can replicate or they just reproduce itself in the abnormal or the uncontrolled manner. So, the most fundamental characteristics of the cell is the ability to reproduce themselves. They do either simplify by dividing one cell, two cell into the so on, right. So, the division of the normal or the healthy cells occurs in the regulated in the systemic functions, but in the condition of the cancers or in the condition of the cancer, the cells continuously divided to form the new cells or to by the supply of the material of growth, and they just replicate itself without any control, that is the uncontrollability. Now, invasive. So, invasive sometimes tumor do not stay harmless in one place, they destroy the part of the body in which they originate, and when they spread to the other part, they start new growth and cause the more destruction, and this is known as a metastasis, right. And that means when sometimes tumor do not stay at the one place, but they migrate on the other part of the body, they growth and they cause the cell death at particular area, that is known as the metastasis. Now, this characteristics distinguish cancer from the benign growth which remains a part in which they started. Although benign may grow the quite large or they press the neighboring structures and they do not spread to the other part. So, there are two types of cancer tumors, that is a benign tumor and malignant. Malignant tumor. So, basically benign tumor is the tumor which is only originated, it is where they originated, they just stay on that particular place. But what is malignant? It is a kind of metastasis, they just transfer from the one original place to the another place, and they react with that particular area, and they just replicate itself and cause the cancer at that particular area. Now, there are several terms which are defined the cancer, that is a cancer. The word cancer comes from the Latin word which is originally Greek, derived from the crab, right. Crab, because of the way cancer adhere to each part of the, they seize on the obstinate manner, just like a crab. Just like a crab, they just if you see that the crabs, so they just live in the very crowded area. So, just like a this crab structure, they word like a cancer. Neoplasia. Neoplasia means, plasia always denotes a cell and neo means new. So, neoplasia means there is a new cell development uncontrolled. There is a formation of the new cells uncontrollably or abnormally. So, neoplasia, neo means new, plasia means cells or a tissue, or neoplasm literally means new tissues in the Greek word. So, this indicates that the cancers are actually new growth of the cells inside the body. Tumors. So, tumors literally means the swelling or the mass in the particular area. So, in this case it refers the mass or to non-structured new cells which have no purpose to physiological function of the body, they just continuously growth itself, they have not definite functions, so what they do and how will they do, right. So, they just continuously growth itself. Now, they are generally two types. So, there are generally two types of tumors, it is a benign tumors or a malignant tumor. So, benign tumor is a non-cancerous or malignant tumor is a cancerous tumor. Now, benign tumor benign tumor is a composed of the cell will not be invade to unrelated tissues or organs of the body, although it might be continue grow into the normal size. So, benign tumor is the tumor which is composed of a cell will not invade other related tissues. Other related tissues means other part of the tissues, right. So, benign tumor is always stay at the origin, at their origin. They can't shift to the another organ, right. They just continuously grow itself on the particular area. Now, malignant tumor. So, malignant tumor is a composed of cells that invade the basement membrane and invade the spread to the other part of the body, that is known as a malignant tumor. So, basically this is the benign and this is malignant, this is benign. So, here benign, not cancerous tumor cell grow only locally and cannot spreadly invasion or the metastasis, means जो benigns होते हैं, these benigns can't spread on the another part, they are not a cancerous cells, right, they just a mass of the cell. Now, malignant, so malignant are the type of the cancer cells and they just invade into the various parts of the body and they just transfer from the origin place to the another place and they just infect that particular area. So, that is the metastasis or the benign. Now, types of the cancers. So, there is the classification of the cancer into the 4 main categories. So, basically these these categories are the carcinoma. So, what is carcinoma? Carcinoma begins in the skin or the tissues that covers the upper surface of the internal organs and the glands, and these carcinoma usually form the solid tumors and they are most common type of cancer. So, basically what is carcinomas? Carcinomas are basically formed into the skin or the upper layer of the internal organs. So, examples of carcinoma includes just like prostate cancer. So, prostate glands in which the cancerous cells are growth. So, that is a prostate cancers, breast cancer, lungs cancer and colorectal cancers. These are the these are examples of the carcinomas. Now, sarcoma. What is sarcoma? Sarcoma begins in the tissues that supported and connected to the body. So, basically sarcoma are the cancers which are infect the area which are the supporting cells, just like connective tissues. Connective tissues are the supporting cells which are connective to the each and other tissues to the body and they form the particular functions, right. So, basically sarcoma begins with the tissues that supported and the connected to the body, and the sarcoma can develop into the fat, muscles, nerves, tendons, joints, blood vessels, lymph vessels, cartilages or the bones, means these all are the kinds of the connective tissues, right. So, basically sarcoma are the reason where they act, these are the reason the connective tissues or the supporting cells. Now, leukemia. So, leukemia is the cancer of the blood. So, leukemia begins with the healthy blood changes into the uncontrollably. So, these are subdivided into the acute lymphocytic leukemia, chronic lymphocytic leukemia, acute myeloid leukemia and chronic myeloid leukemia. So, these leukemia is a kind of the blood cancer, right. Now, lymphomas. So, lymphomas is a cancer which begins with the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system means which perform the immune system, which perform the defense mechanism of the body, right. So, basically the lymphomas are the classification of the type of the cancer which infect the lymphatic system, just like lymphatic system in the just like lymph nodes, right, lymph vessels, tonsils, or various organs which occurs into the lymphatic system. So, these lymphatic system is a network of blood vessels and glands which fight against the infections. So, basically these cancer cells attack on the lymphatic system, due to which the defense mechanism get disturbed and the person feels very weak and their immune system becomes very weak, right. Now, there are two main types of lymphomas, that is a Hodgkin lymphoma and the non-Hodgkin lymphoma. So, these are the two kinds of the lymphoma which are the kind of the lymphomas. So, these are the classifications of the cancer. These are the carcinoma. Carcinoma is a cancer which are originate or which are occurs into the surface of the skin or the surface of the visceral organs or the internal organs. Now, sarcoma is the cancers which commonly occurs into the connective tissues or the supporting cells. They get damaged to the supporting cells, due to which the entire system of the body will damaged. Now, leukemias. So, leukemia is the kind of the blood cancer, and this blood cancer occurs into the various kind of series. Now, last one is the lymphomas. So, lymphoma is the kind of the cancers which occurs into the lymphatic system, right. So, this is all about the cancers and their classifications. Thank you.